Hi guys, so this is actually part of my resolution this year to bring more diverse content to you, not just through the podcast or through public speaking, but also through YouTube videos. I don't have that much time, having a full-time job and having a husband and a daughter and also the podcast. So I vowed to do this twice a month minimum, and we'll see how it goes from here. But I should introduce myself. I'm Bailey Jeremy, the host of Mind Over Melanin. I'm also a mental health therapist, and I serve families in Manhattan, and my office is in Harlem, but I'm not taking any clients. I actually work for a nonprofit organization, and I'm not taking any clients. So don't slide in my DMs asking for services. You can ask for interviews. You can ask how you can donate. You can ask how you can become a loyal follower and part of the community, the Mind Over Melanin community, but no clients. So I've been waiting. Since Surviving R. Kelly came out, I've been waiting. I've been waiting to make sure that I was finished processing because there were so many feelings and emotions from one, seeing the documentary, and then also seeing the responses of people in the documentary. And I just wanted to make sure that I was in wise mind, as we call it in mental health therapy. The other states of mind are rational mind and emotional mind or emotion mind. So I was waiting to get into rational mind, and I think I'm there for the most part. But I will say that there were so many overlapping intersections per se with this issue that it took me longer to process. And I'll give you a little bit of background about myself just so you can understand what exactly I mean by that. So one, I'm a Black woman, and I used to be a Black girl, believe it or not. I am from Chicago. I was an R. Kelly fan. I also developed at a very young age, and not to say that that was a qualifier for him at all, but it did shape my experience in my adolescent years, being mature and also just hitting puberty before I even hit middle school. So just to give you a little background, I started developing around like 9 or 10. I'm a therapist, and there is lots of trauma within all of these stories, so that's another link. And I'm also a survivor of sexual abuse, and I'm a parent, and I have a daughter. So that is another layer that I had to deal with as far as processing. And I am a parent, and when I had my daughter, or a little bit after I had my daughter, when I did a sufficient amount of research around just having a little Black girl and being interested in knowing how likely or how common it is for Black girls to experience trauma. And unfortunately, I learned that Black girls are the highest subgroup of children to be molested or sexually assaulted as children. And some studies say that Hispanic children will have like similar or higher rates, but there are overwhelmingly high amount of studies that show that African American girls are often the victims of molestation. So those are all of my intersections. Also, my last intersection, I would say, is having strict parents. I have fairly strict parents, but I must admit that I was able to do a lot. And when I say strict, I mean I was not able to leave my neighborhood until I hit my adolescent age. Not just double digits. Like, I had to be a teen in order to like leave my neighborhood. Never went to any parties. Never did any sleepovers. The closest thing I got to parties or sleepovers was when my parents thought that they could trust one of my peers' parents, so they became associates or friends per se with my peers' parents, and they trusted me in my peers' parents' hands. But that is where things got a little, I would say, gray, because my parents were more strict than any of my friends' parents. So when I was able to be with my friends and their so-called parents, I was able to go places. I was able to leave the street, go down the street, where my actual parents would not let me go. Like, they would not even let me think about that option. So, there were opportunities, and I made those opportunities. And my parents probably wouldn't have even let me get that far as to trusting other parents, the peers of my parents. The parents of my peers, if I wasn't doing such a great job, if I wasn't on the honor roll, and if I wasn't part of the National Honor Society and all these other things. But yeah, like, that strictness definitely led to, me wanting to explore and engage in social settings that I was not privy to and that I was not typically exposed to because of being sheltered and because of having strict parents. So that's not advice, that's just me giving you some background information. But the thing that I really wanted to address regarding not just surviving R. Kelly, but many bad people or predators that are celebrities. And this might be a term that is not accurate, but I'm calling it mindful resourcing. And it's something that I spoke about in my last episode, Community Empowerment, which was a live podcast show. And in that episode, in that show, one thing that I stressed was mindful resourcing. And what I mean by that is making sure that however you contribute to the community, you know what the footprint is to that contribution, and also where that contribution goes. And in this example for R. Kelly, people are saying that they can separate the artist from the act. And the issue with that is you can't. And the reason why you cannot is because me being loyal to his art, i.e. his music, by going to Spotify, by buying an album, by going to a concert. I am putting money in his pockets. And money is very important for R. Kelly if you watched this docuseries, because it funds his studio, it funds these multiple houses, it allows him to hide in plain sight, or hide in places that we don't know he's hiding. It allows him to keep these secrets from the closest people in his lives, i.e. his ex-wife, and it gives him resources. He will not be able to have a team of people to protect him if we are not showing our loyalty by streaming his music, which still funds, these women who are still currently being held by him. So that's one thing about mindful resourcing. And it's not just even him, but any examples that you have. Think about how it impacts the community, and also think about where it came from. Bigger examples could be blood diamonds, or smaller examples R. Kelly is a large example, but a smaller example could be a local Black business. I am all about supporting Black businesses, but make sure that I think it's important to charge Black businesses with the responsibility of also contributing within the community. Just because I'm a Black business owner and I'm selling hats, what am I doing? If I become very successful with these hats, am I turning around and making change within the community? Am I taking my profit and going out to some, luxury brand that doesn't actually positively impact the community, i.e. Prada or H&M or someone else who slaps a sorry on, not being aware of their negative impacts? What am I doing with my money after, I get my community to pour into my business? And one thing that I was talking about on during the podcast, the last podcast, was saying once I am able to, one, sufficiently support my family, an example of me making sure that the impact of Mind Over Melanin is not just spreading knowledge, but actually making change, concrete change, would be me saying, hey, once I get enough, once my Patreon community grows, or once I get this many donations, I honor to give free mental health therapy to a specific number of families or clients a month. Now, I haven't received any donations yet, but if you like this idea and you want to contribute to my honor or my vow, you can definitely go to Mind Over Melanin and click on donations, or go to patreon.com/mindovermelanin to start engaging as one of my community members. But that's just an example. The other issue that I've had with responses of surviving R. Kelly was people coming out and saying this wouldn't be happening if he wasn't a Black man. I'm not here to debate that. If you listen to my episodes, I'm all about calling out oppression, ending oppression in every way we can. But the fact of the matter is, this is abuse to our Black women, our Black children, and that needs to be addressed. So we should not pardon him because of oppression. We should not excuse him because, you know, you feel like this is unfair. Because it's unfair, the adverse impact and trauma that all of these women have experienced on behalf of R. Kelly. You know, and I just think it's equivalent to me speeding down the street and, you know, I'm willingly breaking the law and then I get upset when I'm the one that's getting caught. Like, if you engage in behaviors that are inappropriate, disgusting, foul, then you need to own your crap when it's time for justice to happen. And that's just the bottom line. The other thing that I wanted to address was the blame game. I think that it's so unfortunate. Well, actually, let me go back to this other part. So the last thing that I do want to say is take the time to actually do research on the people that you are highlighting that did not get their day or were not punished. Like, really take some time, read their bios, because a lot of these people that people are calling out have been shunned, have been exiled from the community, whether it's entertainment, singing, whatever, directing. A lot of these people have been punished. And one of the issues with R. Kelly is he has not been punished. And he is adversely impacting the Black community. So, so do your research on that. And I do not believe that anyone should be pardoned for adversely impacting our children. And so hopefully they all get their time, if they have not already. The last thing that I want to talk about is the blame game. I briefly mentioned in the beginning that, like, I have very strict parents, but I still found ways to, you know, explore and engage in behaviors that my parents probably wouldn't have approved of. And, you know, I came from a 2-parent household. I came from a very strict home where my parents advocated for celibacy, and sometimes you just don't have control of these things. And I think it's just so unfortunate that people are blaming everyone else but R. Kelly. You know, like, they're trying to find ways to say, you know, if that was my child, blah blah blah, and that's the reason why it took me so long to respond or even say anything, because I was just thinking about the immediate horror of, like, now having a child and having to be responsible for protecting her from predators like R. Kelly. You know, I mean, I'm very thankful that I did not fall prey to someone like him. But the reality of the matter is, there are opportunities. There were so many opportunities, and, you know, I guess the grace of God helped me, or something kept me from that. Maybe so I could be here today talking to you all. But yeah, I'm not. It's not cool to blame everyone but the person who's actually causing the trauma, because I think it's clear that the parents who were interviewed desperately want their children to be home. They are overwhelmed. A lot of them are in shock that this could even happen to them. And some of the parents made several efforts to make sure that this didn't happen, and it happened anyway. So just be conscious of that, and, you know, just take a minute before you blame someone to really put yourself in their shoes. And if you can't, just just don't say anything. Because these people, I think it took lots of courage and bravery for them to come out and even share this story. But I think it speaks to their hope and also their desperation to save their children. Because I'm pretty sure they knew how they would be ripped apart by media and by people in our own community that just do not have the insight or are coming from places of ignorance. So, you know, one thing that I saw in the very beginning before I even watched the documentary that I want to say right before I sign out, but it was, I saw something like, I wasn't like that when I was 14 or something like that. And I thought that was a very foolish statement because, you know, regardless of how you are yourself at 14, the fact of the matter is you're 14, you're still a child. And just because America put this stamp of 18 as an adult, that doesn't make you an adult when you developmentally. Your brain does not fully mature and develop until around the age of 25. But at 18, you're able to smoke cigarettes, you're able to do all these other things. At 21, you're able to consume alcohol. You're able to do all these things that can alter your chemical balance and also alter the way you process and the way you think and make decisions. But you still are, your brain is still not completely developed. And so, you know, maybe there are superhumans out here that are like, oh yeah, I was completely mature at 14, but that's not the case. Like, so I think it's important for us not to read too much into these like anecdotal stories about, you know, well, I wasn't like that when I was a kid, because really it doesn't matter. Because the standard is that your brain hasn't fully developed. That is why child predators is a thing, because you can easily manipulate children. And 14 is still a child. 17 is still a child. Developmentally, 19 is still a child. Just think of, if you want to think about anecdotes and your own life, think about how many mistakes you probably made before you were 25 and how much you're paying for now. So that's all I want to say. I really look forward to you guys tuning in to the next episode. It should be released not this Wednesday, but the upcoming Wednesday. And I just appreciate you all. And you can see me again via YouTube in a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Like I said, twice a month. That's all you're getting from me. All right, signing out. Love you guys.